From improvements to existing rides to concept bikes that look to be pulled from the pages of a science fiction novel, and even a motorcycle riding robot, this was an exciting year in Tokyo. All the big names were present and accounted for, and it was interesting to see what the major players have in store for us in the foreseeable future. While I am certainly looking forward to having all the specs and pertinent info on hand for some review action, I can scarcely contain myself for the teasers and tidbits we have so far. One of my favorites has to be a new concept bike from the tuning fork company, the Yamaha Resonator 125. Chromed and gilded components dominate the overall look, and the factory even graced the tank and calf racer-esque rear fender fairing with real wood-finished bright panels, no doubt from its musical instrument branch. For those of you too young to remember the old station wagons that had wood sides and the later, horrible, genuine imitation wood-like sticker, it was a popular look, and this ride takes me right on back to the day. The 125cc engine and stripped-down look relegates this bike to the basic transportation category, but I gotta say, basic transportation never looked so cool. Next on my list would be the Yamaha electric concept bikes. The factory went two distinctly separate routes with the PED2 trail bike and PES2 sport bike. The PED2 looks pretty much like a standard dirt bike, until you notice the lack of exhaust components and the little blue whirligig on the side of the motor. It's built to handle like a mountain/trail bike, and is nearly silent so you can enjoy nature without also disturbing it. While the important metrics such as speed and range are still unknowns, what we do know is that it comes with an electric motor in the front wheel, making it the first two-wheel drive electric sport bike as far as I know. There are plenty of cool little details, but the coolest by far, says I, is the smart helmet that pipes performance info and video feeds from front and rear cameras into a heads-up display of sorts. Sounds really nifty, but I shudder to think how much that bucket will set you back. Now for the ride that has the Batman theme music stuck in my head, Yamaha's MWT9 concept bike. Actually another funny backwards trike. The factory took the parallelogram steering from its Tricity scooter or Piaggio's MP3, depending on who you ask, that lets the wheels articulate and lean into the corners. Although the front wheels are set apart, they remain fairly close together, more like the Tricity, and less like the Can-Am Spyder for a bike-sized footprint rather than a small car-sized one. Each front wheel gets a pair of hydraulic forks, for a total of 4, which stiffens up the front end and makes it look really beefy. The factory powers it with a 849cc, inline 3-banger mill with a radiator in evidence up front, and the overall look of the thing is pure sport with a dash of Bruce Wayne thrown in for good measure. Last but not least, Yamaha's robotics branch lent a hand to the motorcycle wing, and developed an anthropomorphic robotic rider complete with articulated hands and feet meant to handle all the controls on the bike with no special modifications, a true plug-and-play, autonomous robot supposedly capable of competing with human superbike pilots. I'll believe that when I see it, and I have to ask, at what point does the thing become self-aware? Cue the Terminator music. Personally, I don't see the point of this exercise, but I imagine Yamaha has an endgame in mind, and we will just have to wait and see. For the Red Riders, Honda unveiled a teaser concept bike it calls the Lightweight Super Sport. Details are sketchy, but we do know it runs a 2-banger mill, and it shows a 14,000 RPM redline on the digital touch. Typically Honda in design, it seems to push into science fiction, or even alien, territory with the wicked-looking light layout in the front fairing, and angular features. Motor shows are notorious rumor mills, but word on the street has it we can expect this to be the shape of things to come in Honda's lightweight sport sector. Speaking of shapes, Honda picked a new one with its Neoing concept trike. Another funny backwards trike, It looks like a slightly narrowed Can-Am, and it comes with proprietary, leaning front-wheel technology that should be able to stay clear of Piaggio's team of lawyers. The biggest surprise with this ride involves the drivetrain. A true, hybrid power plant literally uses a 4-cylinder engine to drive a generator, which in turn powers the electric drive motor, a move that produces oodles of torque according to the factory. It will be interesting to see how well this is received on an actual dealer showroom floor, though if the buzz surrounding it at the show is any indication, Honda may have a winner on its hands. Kawasaki fans got a treat in the form of a concept drawing of the South Carolina 01. While I don't get excited about concept art, I did manage to glean a few noteworthy tidbits. Namely that the South Carolina 01 will serve as the replacement for the S2. Another Easter egg involves a new engine from Kawi, and the volumetric efficiency thereof. The compressor, supercharger, comes with variable resistance in the intake tract, a move Kawi says will improve fuel efficiency and induction flow. Again with the rumors, but we expect to see this engine together with the new S2 replacement as early as 2017. Suzuki went a slightly more organic route with its feel-free, go! concept bicycle. A tribute to its early days of mounting internal combustion engines on bicycle frames, this new concept uses a 50cc mill to power the thing's pedals. Personally, I don't see how the word bicycle comes into play at all. To me, a bicycle implies pedal power, yet this bike has none, so it's really more of a bicycle-shaped scooter, for all intents and purposes. KTM unveiled a new ride similar in spirit to the feel-free, go! in the form of its new Ion motorized bike. Much like the Suzuki, this ride has no leg power pedals for auxiliary propulsion, and it relies entirely upon the motor for locomotion. Unlike the Suzuki, KTM took the green approach and went with an all-electric motor powered by a 260-volt battery pack. The most intriguing aspect would be the suspension. Instead of running any sort of telescoping fork, the spokes between rim and hub compress and expand as needed to absorb bumps. While there is at least one other similar system out there, the KTM version is much skinnier, and I have to wonder how it handles bumps while in corners, cause I don't see a lot of lateral stability with such a narrow setup. About the looks, I don't want to sound unkind, but it rather reminds me of the earliest bicycles, with the impossibly tall seat perched on top, and the rider triangle forces a strong, leaned forward position. In short, I have seen CIA torture techniques that look more comfortable, and I can't help but wonder if a more traditional shape to the upper lines would make this ride more attractive.